Squad, what is going on? It's me, Captain Fire. Today we are live action. You already know what it is. Here to bring you this Bleach review, episode 6, titled The Fire. Now, let me start off by saying this episode of Bleach is by far the best looking episode I've ever seen. Ever. Some of you may disagree. For others, this may be in your top 3 or top 5, maybe your top 10. But to some, this isn't number 1. To me, yeah, this is number 1. You know, I know there are other Bleach content creators out there. I know who they are. They may disagree, but no, I'm saying this is the best. Now, I have a lot to unpack about this episode because this was just, it was phenomenal. It was a masterpiece. Only seeing like one flaw. I'm gonna get to that later, but that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket compared to the greatness that we witnessed in this episode. Now, of course, we know over here, I talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the live action, the epic. So I noticed, of course, it starts out, which I thought this was cool at first. Uryu, he's underneath the underpass, looking through the book again, learning more about the history of the Quincy and the Soul Reapers. And again, I'm like, that's more footage we're getting about stuff we already know. But whatever, whatever. I do like the visuals, though. You see the reflection of the water, you know, up top of the underpass. I do like those additional details because originally in the manga it started out explaining Royd and Lloyd. We didn't get that in this, so I guess they swapped that out to put in the extra scenes and everything. And another thing they added in, which I like, we see how old man Yama, he just flash stepped hella fast, grabbed Kenpachi, laid him down. I thought that was cool. That was really in his character because as crazy as Kenpachi is, as reckless as he is, as much of a threat as he can be, you know, he's still a fellow Shinigami, and I liked how Yamamoto paid respect to that. Yeah, he laid him down. You know, basically like, look, get your hands off of my fellow Soul Reaper, laid him down. And the fights, God, the fighting in this episode. I knew they were going to extend this fight. Now, we've already seen, you know, fights were extended, so it's just making me think more and more and more about these epic fights that happen in the manga that we are going to see extended. But watching this episode, it reawakened just the feelings I had when I first read this chapter. And then some. Because there were things to me that just did not make sense. But I kind of understand from a writer's standpoint the way Kubo did it. I get it. But man, the way I knew, like, okay, here we go with the new footage. The way I knew when old man Yama went to take his whole head off, Bach leaned back and did the backwards kick to knock old man Yama back on top of the roof. Now, I thought this was like, now, why do they do this? Now, I get it. Maybe it's for distraction purposes. When Bach threw the tile, you know, the ceiling, not the ceiling tile, but the tile at old man Yama, why? But what did he think that was going to do? Now, again, maybe that was just for a distraction. And I like how old man Yama, how he just flexed that spiritual pressure and it just launched the tiles on fire back at him. I've never seen that in Bleach. Refresh my memory if that's ever a thing in Bleach. I was expecting, you know, if he was to do that, they would just burn up. They would drop and fall. But he just went and directed right back at him. I thought that was cool. Now, when he went Bunkai, they captured that moment greatly. When he went ahead, and no, let me rewind a little bit. When they landed, because old man Yama went to do the vertical slice, when they landed, how Bach landed first and old man Yama landed a few steps ahead of him, and the way he turned around and went to slash, you see the flames, and he summoned his Reishi sword, cut the flames in two. I thought that was perfect. The animation, just the way the camera turned, it was flawless. And of course, Hashwell still looking sweet, you know, no matter what. But when he activated Bunkai, they captured that moment perfectly because when all the flames went inside of his Zanpakuto, the music cut. You could literally see the waves and, you know, the heat. It was just quiet. You can hear it and feel the heat. I was just getting damn high watching the damn episode, and man, and of course, I love this part. I love how, looking back on it a little bit, when they tried to jump old man Yama, come on now. Come on. When it was ass nah, Basby trying to jump old man Yama. First time I read that in the manga, I already knew they were done. It reminded me of when Sun, Apache, and Mila Rose went to jump Old Man Yama. That's just the foolish thing to do. But I actually thought they were dead first time I read this in the manga. I do like the additional scenes in the beginning when they show Soifon, Kumamura, Toshiro. You see the effect of Old Man Yama's flames, after he dropped them 3 and they all had the smirk. It's funny seeing Kumamura. You see he had that long ass smirk, on his face. Shout out to the scene when Sunsui, he got a cut on Robert, and the way his captain robe was flowing in the air. The way how he just had both arms out, he was flowing. I do like that. So moving back forward to when he went Bunkai, man, when you cut the music like that, it really brings a whole new type of mood to the moment. It kind of reminds me of on Gundam 0083 when Kowaraki went to fight Anavogato. They fought numerous times, but when they fought when there was no music, man, it's like it keeps you a little bit more focused depending on the person. Let me know down below. When it's music going, you're hyped, you're into it, everything, but when that music is cut, you're just focusing on the moment and the sound effects. There's nothing else distracting your senses. But either way, music, no music, it still worked because over time, music was added in it. Now, when the Zaki no Tachi East, man, they did it so much better in the anime. When the motivator, just the tip, the way it tapped the ground and the whole ground just erased. I remember in the manga, I think he went down and sort of stabbed the ground and it erased, but they did it so much better in the actual anime. So the thing about that is, I do not want to put this in the wrong. Okay, there we go. So the thing about that is, this is when things started to reawaken in my mind. Like, okay, this is when it went south in terms of the decisions Old Man Yama was making. Now you see, he immediately went to Zakano Tachi West. Again, it was beautiful. The way it was done, the intensity, the heat. You see all the flames came out of Ryujin Jeka. And man, Zakano Tachi. So Zakano Tachi West, I do like it, but it seems like it's more so defense. It can be used as defense and offense, but I like the added detail. When you seen this motivator, feet was just melting into the ground, and it made sense. At that temperature, you would expect that to happen. And I love the effect that, they mentioned in there, how technically at that temperature, no flame can, emit that type of heat. So of course it's more so like just not really an illusion, but a representation of how fierce and how powerful, how much spiritual pressure he has. And that's what I just love about Old Man Yama. But I find it interesting that throughout this battle you will see quick snippets of the flashback. Now at first I was a little bit confused. I'm like, wait a minute, are these actual flashbacks? Or is this just they're showing the flashback through the eyes of one another? Because the last time they seen one another was 1,000 years ago. So how they seen each other 1,000 years ago, that's probably how fresh it was in their mind. So when he was looking at Old Man Yama, you seen the younger Old Man Yama. But Bach, he still looked the same. But I noticed he was calling him Yuha or Yuha. I think it's Yuha Baha, but whatever. Now, of course, Yuha, his sword was broke. His spirit weapon was cut in half, and even in the manga, I was a little bit confused. Now, seeing it animated now, I don't know if Old Man Yama just moved so fast he cut his spirit weapon in half, or when Yuha went to swing up, he actually made contact with Old Man Yama's Zapato and it just erased his spirit weapon. Who knows? Whatever. But I like the animation, the quality when he went to use his bow. Now I think in the manga, not necessarily the bow, when he went to fire the arrow, I think in the manga it looked like Old Man Yama stopped it from the side or deflected it, but you see in the anime, sliced it in half. Now this next part I thought was interesting because we see in a quick flashback, I'm assuming this was a flashback, we see on the pile of Quincy's, we see Sazakibe was at the top. And then we see Bach with his arrow, and he's looking at a younger Old Man Yama. I don't know if that was something symbolic, as Old Man Yama is looking at Bach, and he's just seeing the, just the image of Sazakibe, like, what, I'm gonna kill him in your honor, and the rest of these Quincy's. I don't think that's the case. I'm thinking, yes, Sazakibe was actually a part of that war 1,000 years ago, and I think that is actually the case, and I think that's pretty cool, man. I wish we could have seen just a little bit more of these flashbacks. Yes, They showed just a little bit when Bach, his back was up against the pile of corpses of the Quincy's, and you see blood around his face. We see the younger old man Yama, and man, we still don't know why he didn't kill him right there. Right? You see all these other Quincy's dead, but why not Bach? Whatever. We're gonna get back to that later. So the funny thing is, when he jumped in the air with Zakanotachi West activated, that's when I believe it's called Sanctuary Praise or Praise Sanctuary that you are activated, looked beautiful. When I first read this in the manga, I didn't think it was going to look this good, but I knew in my head it was going to look good. Seeing that animated, I knew it was going to look good, but this just exceeded my expectations, like every episode has been doing thus far. But I noticed he didn't step inside of that. Also, Yuha said this is the Quincy's greatest offense and defense. I don't know if all Quincy's can use that, or maybe it's just exclusive to Bach, but I noticed he didn't step inside of that, old man Yama, because he did say if you step inside of this, you will be annihilated or destroyed by God's light, but whatever. But when he activated the Zakanotachi South, once again, they nailed it. That music was cut. You just heard the crackling and just the zombies coming up out the ground, the skeletons. Oh man, that it was done. Then of course the music slowly came in. I wasn't expecting to use the 3D CGI, but it worked. I liked it. Of course they added additional scenes with it as he was working his way through his subordinates, the dead that old man Yama raised. You actually seen even more Quincy's that wasn't shown in the manga, and man, I thought this was just phenomenal when I first read this. And of course, I don't know what Bach was thinking when he went to strike old man Yama. What was he thinking? The skeletons went to jump up and block old man Yama, but he had Zakano. He still was engulfed in flames. Notice that. So I don't know if he could still have Zakanotachi West activated while doing Zakanotachi South. But the thing is, trying to get that close to old man Yama, that was foolish. Now maybe he had Blue Vein activated, but still, I don't know. Blue Vein, that stopped him from being just cooked and turned into ash from the heat alone, while he had distance from old man Yama. But getting that close, trying to touch him, it looked like he was trying to do a palm strike or a fist strike. Either way, I thought that was hella reckless. And oh man, the Zakanotachi North, that right there, done so much better in the anime. Because in the manga, I was trying to figure out what the hell is it. He just did a swing. I was trying to envision, like, it was just a lot of heat, a stream of fire. What was it? But we see clearly what it was, and it was done so much better in the anime. And this is when the animation era happened. Of course, when you see all this part removed and his arm moved, when he fell down on the ground, he still had both arms, but whatever. That's something I noticed, but that's just small, just a little tidbit. But throughout this battle, of course, we seen it cut to Uryu again. More Quincy backstory. I think it's cool to see Uryu getting, closure, clarity, and understanding on this. Especially seeing as how Kubo said in the interview a long time ago, and I mentioned this years ago on YouTube, and King of Lightning, he gave me a shout out. We all know who King of Lightning is. Shout out to King of Lightning. How Kubo said in the interview, these arcs, they have their own theme. Each character is the theme of the arc. Quincy arc, Uryu, Fullbring arc, Chad, a Rancor arc, or Hime. They say a rescue arc, Ichigo. That's how I went. Now, yes, Ichigo is still the main character, but in terms of Chad being a Fullbringer, and or Hime is one. But notice, out of all the arcs, Fullbring arc focused on Chad the most, so it kind of made sense. Anywho, so, oh man, I knew they were gonna do this when they actually showed Bach talking to Isaac. I just knew it, and I was so glad they added that in there. That conversation went perfectly. I wasn't disappointed. Like, this whole episode was just freaking gold. It was platinum. It was white gold, whatever you want to call it. Like, it was, and I noticed how he told Aizen, I think he said, you're fused with the Hokyoku. He said it'll take too long, or it'll take a long time to kill you, or to subdue you and bring you back with us. So I'm like, damn, Bach basically said, "Oh, I can kill your ass," but it'd just take too long. Like, I thought that was interesting. And keep in mind, this is before the Almighty even activated. So that's a bold statement. But man, and another thing I noticed, of course, Aizen's mouth was still open, and I wonder if he could have just, did keto right there. But whatever, he wasn't trying to fight Bach, and I believe, to my knowledge, Aizen's eyes was closed. Maybe he was doing ginseng, and that's when he was in his inner world, because we all know it was revealed that, yes, Aizen actually became stronger. Yes. And let me stop it right there and address something. Look. Okay. Again, this will be my last time addressing this. I'm not getting mean or anything, but damn it, this has to be known. There will be spoilers in my reviews. I'm sorry, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. You've had over 10 years to find out about this stuff. If you're an anime only watcher, that is fine. No disrespect. However, with the way I want to do things, I just can't see me making these reviews saying, with me knowing already what happened, and damn near all of my audience knows already what happened. I can't see myself saying, say if last review, be like, well, next episode, man, you already know what's gonna go down. It's gonna be a doozy. It's gonna be hard to watch, because you know who is gonna, and so. No, I'm not gonna talk in code and secret. It just takes away from my review style. That's just how it is. Now, I can understand if I never even read the manga of the final arc and I'm going into this brand new and blind, just like the anime watchers, then yeah, I will be blind to it just like you. So I will probably have made last review saying, man, I don't know what's going to happen next week. We finally got old man Yama to the mix. Catch you next time. Thanks for watching. But that's not the case. So going back to what I'm saying, I'm sorry. Yes, this is spoiler-free reviews. It's not my intent to spoil it for you. So just, it is what it is. So anyway, yes, Aizen becomes stronger. So it cuts back to Yuha and Yuha and Old Man Yama. Man, and this is the part, rewatching it again, those feelings came up again. When he actually took Old Man Yama's Bunkai. Old Man Yama went to charge at him. Bach made the giant bow and arrow in the sky. The arrow sword comes down. Picks it up. Animation looked real good, the quality. Does one of these. And then one swipe. From here to here. We all know the rest. And Old Man Yama's done. Episode ends. Which I thought was interesting, because that's when the actual chapter ends as well. So yeah, we got a lot of it out the way. Great animation, quality episode, good pacing, new scenes, additional footage. Everything was cool and perfect. But looking back at this again, damn the whole, the fanboys, the fangirls was mad that Byakuya was supposed to die or dead. I wouldn't be surprised if this played a major role into pissing fans off. Because it took me back to when I first read this episode. Read this chapter. And then when I'm watching it, in motion, seeing everything that could have been done differently. Like, why? First off, he did not have to go Bunkai. He didn't have to go Bunkai again. No, he was not exhausted. He was not out of breath. You see how quickly he was able to activate Bunkai just like that. When he said Bunkai, you seen the flames come just like that. That was a taunt what Bach was saying. Like, I wonder, it's so many different translations. And from the manga, scans online, the subs basically said, I wonder if you're, exhausted from fighting my imposter. Old Man Yama naturally rushing him, getting emotional, giving into that taunt. And his Bunkai got taken. And you can actually see where Old Man Yama gave up. Why? To me, that was not in his character. The way, it's not the fact that Kubo killed him. It was the way he killed him. Yes, he was dashing at him. He looked up and he seen the giant bow and arrow. And when it came down, Omiyama stopped. He was at the ready. And then when Bach picked up this Reishi sword, Omiyama was just standing there. And I like the actual additional footage, but it was just, man, it was messed up to see. You see a Zanpakuto just go down. That was a sign. He gave up. And you could see it in his face. The fact he's just giving up like that, he could have evaded that. Look how fast he snatched up Kenpachi out of his hands. I stand on this from when I read it in the manga up to now. You couldn't have dodged that. Now maybe old man Yama was thinking like, oh damn, he took my Bunkai. I'm fucked. I can't win against my own Bunkai. I remember thinking back like, damn, well, I remember Wonder Weiss took all the flames. And then when it went to explode, he just jumped on Wonder Weiss's head and he took all those flames. Some will say that's not the same. But my thing is, you immediately with the Bunkai, you couldn't have flash stepped around them, or you couldn't have used some type of keto to a binding spell, something. You just immediately have to go to Bunkai, and him getting just taken out like that. Like, what was he thinking? Him giving up like that, I don't know if he was thinking like, damn, like when Yuha said, oh, maybe I should bring, the subordinates back from the dead and have you, witness that. I don't know if old man Yama, he wouldn't have been able to endure that. That'd have been a major psychological mind fuck, and it's just, he gave up. By doing that, do you know what would actually have happened to if Ichigo would have never had Quincy abilities? He would have been stuck in Kurji's jail. Yeah, Grimmjow took him out. He would have got free. He would have showed up to Soul Society. Bach would have took him out by him stabbing him in the neck. He'd have been dead, or he just would have did that to take him back. Make him a part of the war world. But again, everything would have been done. Bach would have won. Who knows what would have been happening to the balance of the universe? Because after Bach killed old man Yama, he probably went around and the rest of the Quincy's and just took out the rest of the Godei 13. Or then maybe Royal Guard would have came up and handled him. Maybe. But that was a risky move. You just gave up when he just got killed like that. That's why I said, well, I'm done. The rest of Godei 13 is going to die. Soul Society is going to be done. Or the Serite at the least. I just don't get it. But maybe from a writer standpoint, just imagine if old man Yama would have never died. This story, the battles would have went a lot differently. Just actually think about that. I don't think after they would have retreated, old man Yama just would have, been like, all right, well, they retreated. That's it. No, they would have still tried to hunt them down, use Miuri to get more information and everything. It would have played out so completely differently, and I wish that would have happened. And when old man Yama died, I was just shocked and just in disbelief. Like, I always liked this character ever since they first showed him. And he just has so much history, obviously, and just to get killed off like that. I mean, in the sense, I can respect impactful deaths because that's what can make good story writing, but to me, it just all depends on how the person dies and what it was for and if it was justified. I mean, just a swing. He was doing all this jumping, flipping, counter, all that stuff. But again, he just gave up. I mean, so like that's just it. But whatever. So he took his Bunkai and just he gave up. Maybe he was thinking, I'm screwed. I shouldn't have did that. But whatever. Now I wonder if they took out the Roy Lloyd intro explanation because I don't know if they wanted the. Now I wonder if they took out the whole Roy Lloyd explanation intro thing because it was going to cause confusion. Because when I first read it, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So Lloyd can copy the powers and abilities and skills, but Royd can just copy memories and appearances. And appearances. Matter of fact, let's check the official source there. So Lloyd can mimic another's powers and skills in addition to their appearance. That's the one who turned to Kenpachi, mimicking powers and skills plus appearance. Roid could mimic another's memories and mind in addition to their appearance. So that's crazy how he was able to just hang with old man Yama like that and drop Kenpachi like that by just only mimicking memories and mind in addition to the appearance. So I mean, I actually thought it was the other way around when I first read this. I'm like, oh, so it was Roid who lost to Kenpachi, but Lloyd was the one who fought old man Yama because, you know, that's mimicking another person's powers and skills. And that's the other painful thing about this fight, about his death. As epic as this was, that wasn't even Bach. All this tension, this history, this animosity, this revenge, like just a century, you know? I mean, not a century, but millennium. It's just all for basically nothing. So technically, we never got to see them fight. Never. That is the painful truth of this. That's why I say, you know, this brought up feelings again from when I first read this, and then seeing it animated, while it was done beautifully, while yes, I still stand on the fact that this is the best looking Bleach episode ever. Maybe next episode will top it, maybe the episode after that, maybe the final episode for this final arc part 1, which would be episode 13, maybe that will top it all. But I don't know, like, this is just it's crazy. But oh man, that's all I got for you with it, Elites. I feel like I'm missing something. I do think it's cool that so far, for all the characters that are dead in Bleach or that died, you know, in this final arc, Kubo has been drawing official art of those characters. I thought it was, you know, pretty cool. I think it was Lloyd, a couple of those Shinigamis. You have Old Man Yama, Sasuke, Star Knight Q, Drish Craw, Jerome, a few other characters. Oh no, not Robert. He's not dead yet. But yeah, man, it's crazy. So beautiful episode. I appreciate the additional content. Oh, real quick, I thought it was funny how it reminded me of when Hollow Ichigo threw rocks at threw that big rock at Ucleor when Bach, he was actually throwing rocks at old man Yama. Again, maybe he was doing it just to close some distance or something, but in the world of Bleach, throwing rocks and stuff, that's just, come on now. Like, what is that going to do? Big chunks of boulders and cement, whatever. It's not going to do anything. But next episode, I cannot wait. We see Ichigo shows up. We are going to see how this is going to go, especially when Ichigo gets pissed off. You know, you see his Ryatsu go everywhere, and he does the Getsuga Tensho. I'm going to love it. But man, it's just a shame to see a character like Old Man Yama get done like that. So let me know down below, at least, if you always thought his death was some bull crap. Do you wish he was still alive? Do you think this whole war would have went completely different if Old Man Yama was still alive? Thank you all for watching. It's me, Captain TWBW, signing out.